Welcome to Revisit Books podcast, where we turn books into bite-sized wisdom you can use every day. We are focused today on a work that has, well, really reshaped a lot of conversations about success and achievement. It's Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth.
Yeah, and what hits you right away with this material is how Duckworth challenges something really deep-seated, this myth of the natural.
The idea that some people are just born brilliant.
Exactly. We get so fixated on innate talent, thinking achievement just sort of happens to people with the right genes. But this analysis, it really puts the spotlight on effort, sustained effort over the long haul. That's what she argues defines high achievers.
And that focus on talent, or the lack of it, actually came from her life, right? That's kind of the origin story here.
Absolutely. She talks very openly about her father. Growing up, he was constantly sort of assessing her potential, and he'd tell her straight up, "You're no genius."
Well, that's blunt.
It is.
Yeah.
And that worry that maybe she wasn't intellectually gifted, it really shaped how she saw things later on.
Which makes the whole MacArthur Fellowship thing just incredible. The Genius Grant, right?
It's beautiful irony, isn't it? She wins this prestigious grant, basically labeled a genius, for research that essentially proves her father's focus on innate genius was,
well, incomplete.
so her own experience kind of backed it up.
Totally. She looked back at her own path, getting degrees from, as she puts it, pretty tough schools, and realized it wasn't because she was inherently smarter than everyone else. She even remembers not testing high enough for the gifted program way back in 3rd grade.
Huh. So it wasn't some hidden superbrain.
No. For her, it was concrete proof. The effort she put in, the hours she logged, the passion she kept alive, that was the engine driving her forward, not some fixed talent she was born with. It's like David Shank said, it gives us a truer picture of achievement, moving past that limiting myth.
Right. It's less about magic and more about stamina. Exactly. Like the mountaineer Ed Viesturs said, success belongs to those who can endure, wait out the storm, and try again. It's that staying power. Arianna Huffington called it a sane perspective because it grounds success in things we can actually do, finding joy and purpose in long-term efforts.
And if it's something you can do, then it's something you can cultivate. That's where it gets really exciting, I think, the potential impact.
Oh, huge. Lawrence Summers saw that potential, suggesting it could transform education and management. Because it's not just motivational talk, it's practical. Paul Tough highlighted that it gives us real strategies, things you can actually use to help yourself or your kids become more motivated, more persistent.
Okay, so if this offers practical strategies, who is this really for? Who gets the most out of engaging with these ideas?
Well, if you think about it, it's almost like an antidote, right? Especially for the skeptical learner. Anyone who feels like their potential is capped because they don't have the right IQ or natural talent.
So if you're someone who feels like you're always trying to catch up to the naturals.
Yes, exactly. If you feel like you're constantly behind those people who just seem to get things easily, this material is incredibly empowering. It validates the effort.
It's like permission to believe your hard work actually matters more.
Precisely. Soledad O'Brien pointed out how it empowers regular individuals, people using self-control and perseverance to reach just as high as the supposedly naturally talented. It's a huge boost for the striver in all of us.
That makes sense. And it sounds like it's crucial for parents and mentors, too.
Oh, definitely. We're kind of obsessed, aren't we, with test scores and finding that early spark of brilliance. Robert Putnam noted that this research gives us a different lens how to foster long-term dedication, that real stick-to-itiveness, instead of just chasing short-term wins that might fade away after school.
And what about people who are already achieving things? Does it speak to them, too?
Yeah, absolutely. For the high achiever maybe looking for how to sustain that success, Sal Khan really nails it. He says this material identifies the key trait of people who optimally take advantage of knowledge. You can learn all you want, but if you don't have the grit to apply it consistently...
That doesn't amount to much.
Right. That's what Simon Sinek drives home. Getting smarter isn't the guarantee. Sticking with it is. And finally, for the practical strategist, the leader, the coach, anyone setting goals, Duckworth pulls together so much research, real stories from business, sports, you name it, and boils it down to actionable stuff. It's like a data-backed manual for tenacity.
Okay, let's get into those actionable blueprints then, because the data that kicked this all off is, frankly, pretty surprising. Let's start with that first big takeaway. Talent is not a guarantee of grit, and this really comes into focus at West Point.
Right. The U.S. Military Academy, they use something called the Whole Candidate Score, the WCS, for admissions. It's this massive score combining everything they think predicts success there.
Like SAT scores, class rank.
Exactly. SATs, ACTs, high school rank, leadership potential evaluations, even physical fitness tests. It's their best shot at measuring aptitude and potential before someone gets in.
And it's the most important factor for getting accepted.
It is. The logic seems sound, right? Bring in the cadets with the highest WCS, the most talent, and they should thrive. But Duckworth and her team looked at what happened during the initial training period. They call it BEAST.
Which sounds unpleasant.
Oh, it's designed to be brutal. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it pushes cadets to their absolute breaking point. So the researchers used BEAST to test that assumption about the WCS.
Yeah.
And here's the shocker, the thing that puzzled people for years. The WCS was a terrible predictor of who actually made it through BEAST.
Wait, really? The highest scores didn't predict success.
Nope. Cadets, the top WCS scores of the cream of the crop on paper, were just as likely to drop out during BEAST as cadets with the lowest scores. Talent by itself didn't protect them at all.
So what did predict who made it?
That's where the grit scale came in. This short questionnaire measuring passion and perseverance for long-term goals. It turned out to be an astoundingly reliable predictor of who completed BEAST.
Not IQ, not physical fitness, but grit.
Exactly. It was measuring psychological stamina, that sheer will to just keep pushing forward when everything inside you is screaming to stop.
Wow. And this failure of the WCS you mentioned, it points to a bigger societal thing, the naturalness bias.
Yeah, it's this subtle, almost hidden prejudice we seem to have. We often prefer the story of the natural, the person who succeeds seemingly without effort, over the story of the striver, the one who clearly worked incredibly hard for it.
But why? Don't we admire hard work? We love underdog stories.
We say we do, but psychologically it might be a bit more complicated. If someone succeeds because they're just talented, it lets us off the hook, right? Our own lack of success can be blamed on not having that magic talent. But if someone succeeds through pure, relentless effort...
It forces us to wonder if maybe we just didn't try hard enough.
Exactly. It makes us confront our own choices and effort levels. So, consciously or unconsciously, preferring the natural can be a way to protect our ego.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Talent feels like magic. Effort feels like work we maybe didn't want to do.
And this bias isn't just a theory. It has real-world consequences. Shia's research showed this clearly. People rated naturals as more likely to succeed, more hireable, even when they said they valued hard work more.
And that entrepreneur study.
Yeah, the striver entrepreneur needed 4 extra years of experience and $40,000 more in startup funding just to be seen as equal to the natural. We literally put a higher price tag on perceived innate talent.
Which makes the second key takeaway absolutely critical, not just inspiring, but almost mathematical. Effort counts twice in the formula for achievement.
Right. This isn't just anecdote. Duckworth lays out a clear psychological model with 2 simple equations. First, talent x effort, salad skill.
Okay, so talent is how fast you pick things up when you try.
Basically, yeah. Talent is the rate at which your skills improve when you invest effort. Higher talent means faster learning, assuming the effort is there.
But the second equation is the game changer.
That's where effort really flexes its muscle. Skill x effort equals achievement.
So effort shows up in both.
Exactly. It's the only factor that counts twice. It helps you build the skill in first place, and it's what makes that skill productive out in the world. Think about it like this. Imagine 2 people starting a job.
Let's call them talented Tina and effortful Ed.
Perfect. Let's say Tina is objectively twice as talented as Ed. She learns the ropes twice as fast, right? Skill equation. Tina's talent, 2x effort, 1 talent, skill 2. Ed's talent, 1x effort, assuming he matches her effort initially 1, skill 1. Tina gets skilled faster.
Okay, makes sense so far.
But now, let's say Ed is just relentless. He puts in twice the effort compared to Tina, day in, day out. Not just learning, but applying, practicing, refining. Now look at the achievement equation.
So Tina's achievement, skill 2 x effort 1 equals.
Right. And Ed, his skill caught up because he kept applying effort. Talent 1x effort 2 equals skill 2. Now, his achievement, skill 2x effort 2 equals 4.
Wow. So over time, Ed actually achieves more.
Significantly more. Double in this simple model. Effort doesn't just make up for less talent. It compounds. It multiplies the output. Talent alone just can't keep up with sustained high effort over the long run.
That really brings the Potter Warren McKenzie to mind. He's 92 now. And that quote, the first 10,000 pots are difficult.
It perfectly captures it. That ceaseless effort, pot after pot, year after year, it improves his skill, the form, the beauty of each piece. But that same effort also increases the quantity of beautiful, useful work he produces, achievement. He lives that formula.
And John Irving, the writer, he's been very open about struggling with reading and spelling, not feeling like a natural at all.
Right. And he turned that perceived lack of talent into an advantage. Because it didn't come easy, he learned early on that to do anything really well, you have to overextend yourself. He built confidence not in effortless genius, but in his stamina for revision.
He famously spends more time rewriting than writing the first draft.
Exactly. That massive iterative effort, draft after draft after draft, that's what produced his incredible body of work. That's achievement generated by sheer focused effort.
It reminds me of that old Harvard treadmill test study from the 40s. Just picturing those poor sophomores on that brutal treadmill.
Yeah, it wasn't just a fitness test. It was set at a steep angle, fast speed. It was designed to measure stamina and strength of will. How long would you endure the discomfort before quitting? It was about mental toughness against physical misery.
And the long-term results were incredible, weren't they?
Astounding. How long they stayed on that treadmill at age 20 predicted psychological adjustment decades later, things like income, career success, even overall life satisfaction. And that held true even after they accounted for the students' baseline physical fitness.
So it really was about the willpower, the refusal to quit.
It seems so. It's like Will Smith's famous line, right? I will not be outworked. That study put some scientific backing behind that attitude. Staying on the treadmill mattered long term.
Okay, so if effort is that powerful, what actually fuels it? You can't just grind forever without something driving you. Which brings us to the third takeaway. Passion is about consistency, organized by a goal hierarchy.
Yes, and this tackles that word passion. We throw it around to mean, intense excitement for a few weeks or months, a new hobby we're obsessed with, then drop.
Right, enthusiasm is easy at the start.
Exactly. But when Duckworth talks to high achievers, their passion sounds different. It's about consistency, endurance, year after year commitment. Enthusiasm is common, she says. Endurance is rare.
So how do gritty people maintain that endurance?
They tend to have a very clear goal structure, like a pyramid. At the very top, there's the top-level goal. She calls it the ultimate concern. This isn't just a step to something else. It's an end in itself. It gives your life direction and meaning. It's your compass.
Like Tom Seaver, the pitcher. His top goal wasn't just winning games.
Right. It was deeper. It was to pitch the best I possibly can day after day, year after year. That ultimate concern then dictated everything below it. His mid-level goals, like improving his fastball or control, and his low-level goals, the daily grind of practice, diet, stretching, everything lined up.
And a lack of grit might mean those goals are messy.
Often, yeah. Either you have a vague dream like, I want to be a doctor, but no real plan, no concrete mid-level or low-level goals to get there, or you have too many competing top-level goals pulling you in different directions. That just fragments your effort.
Okay, but this structure also helps understand something that seems counterintuitive. The art of quitting. How does quitting fit with grit?
Because grit isn't about being stubborn about everything. It's about loyalty to that top-level goal. Sometimes the smartest, grittiest thing you can do is quit a lower-level goal, a specific project, a particular strategy, a certain job if it's clearly not working, or if a better path emerges to reach your ultimate concern.
You quit the path, not the destination.
Exactly. You don't quit the ultimate goal itself, but you might need to quit the means you're using if they're ineffective.
The Bob Mankoff story seems perfect here. The New Yorker cartoon editor, facing insane rejection rates.
Legendary rejection rates, yeah. Over 96%. Mankoff kept getting rejected for years. His ultimate goal was clear, be among the best cartoonists. But his current approach wasn't getting him there.
So he didn't just try harder doing the same thing.
No, that's the key. He didn't quit the goal. He quit the failing strategy. He went to the library, systematically studied every cartoon ever published in the New Yorker. He analyzed what worked, what didn't, looking for patterns.
He did research?
Deep, deliberate research. And he realized the most successful cartoons often had a distinctive style and made you think. So he changed his means. He developed his unique dot style and focused on a different kind of humor. His success rate shot up. He quit the ineffective low-level approach to find a better one, all in service of that top-level goal. That's strategic quitting.
Okay, that clarifies the what's. Now, how do you actually build this stuff? How does grit develop? That leads to takeaway 4. Grit grows through interest, practice, purpose, and hope.
Right. And Duckworth suggests these 4 psychological assets tend to develop in roughly that order. It starts with interest.
Makes sense. You're not going to work incredibly hard at something you find boring.
Pretty much impossible. But the catch is, interests usually aren't obvious from day one. Duckworth calls them fragile, vaguely defined, and in need of energetic, years-long cultivation. They need time and space to grow.
So you don't just wake up knowing your passion.
Rarely. Benjamin Bloom's research on top performers showed interest often sparked during early years through play, exploration, and crucially, with warm, supportive mentors. Autonomy is key here, too. Pushy parents trying to force an interest can actually kill the intrinsic motivation. Kids need freedom to discover what genuinely fascinates them.
Okay, so you find something interesting, then comes the hard part.
Then comes deliberate practice. This is where the effort formula really kicks in hard, and it's very different from just, say, jogging mindlessly for an hour. Duckworth herself admits she ran for years without getting faster because it wasn't deliberate practice.
What makes practice deliberate?
It's about intentionally doing what you cannot yet do. It requires, 1, a specific challenging goal just beyond your current ability. 2, intense 100% focus and effort. 3, immediate useful feedback on what you did right and wrong. And 4, repetition with refinement based on that feedback. It's supposed to feel hard.
That TED Talk preparation story she tells sounds painful.
Oh, yeah. First rehearsal, the feedback was brutal. Too academic, too dry, no story. She had to scrap it and basically force herself through uncomfortable revisions, practicing over and over, focusing on delivery, emotion, clarity, all the things that didn't come naturally.
So it's not about being in flow.
Usually the opposite. Flow, that effortless state, is amazing for performance. But deliberate practice is for preparation. It's the focused, often uncomfortable effort you put in beforehand so that you can achieve flow later. You have to embrace the struggle in practice.
Okay, interest, then practice. What's next?
Purpose. This is the shift from doing something just because you find it interesting or rewarding to connecting it to something bigger than yourself. The intention to contribute to the well-being of others.
Like the bricklayer's parable.
Exactly. Ask 3 bricklayers what they're doing. One says laying bricks, just a job. The second says building a church, a career, maybe. The third says building the house of God, a calling. That sense of purpose, that connection to contributing, is a powerful driver of grit.
And purpose doesn't always come first.
Often it develops later. Think of Joe Leader, the MTA engineer. He started with an interest in the physical work, laying rails. It was satisfying. But it became a true calling only when he fully grasped the impact his careful work ensured the safety of hundreds of thousands of commuters every day, and those rails would last for decades. That connection to others transformed the meaning of his daily tasks.
Interest, practice, purpose, and the final piece is hope.
Yes, but it's a specific kind of hope. It's essentially having a growth mindset, the core belief that your abilities, even your intelligence, aren't fixed stone. They can change, they can improve with effort, strategy, and support.
Contrasted with a fixed mindset.
Right, a fixed mindset says you either have it or you don't. So when you face adversity, the explanation is pessimistic. I failed because I'm just not smart enough, or I don't have the talent. That leads to learned helplessness. Why bother trying if failure is inevitable?
Like Duckworth felt when she initially failed that neurobiology class.
Exactly. That initial wave of, I can't do this. But the hope, the growth mindset part, was her fighting back with, I won't quit, I can figure this out. She changed her study strategies, worked harder, and aced the final. Carol Dweck's research consistently shows that students taught a growth mindset tackle challenges more optimistically, are grittier, and achieve more.
And this isn't just wishful thinking about intelligence.
No, the science is increasingly clear. IQ scores aren't static over a lifetime. Studies show they can change, and those changes correlate with actual changes in brain structure. Learning and effort literally rewire your brain. So believing you can improve isn't just motivational, it's neurobiologically plausible.
So a practical step is actively challenging those fixed mindset thoughts, practicing optimistic self-talk.
Absolutely. It's like cognitive behavioral therapy for perseverance. When you hit a setback, consciously reframe it. Is it really permanent? Does it really affect everything? Pervasive? Is it solely because of some internal unchangeable flaw? Personal. Challenging those pessimistic explanations is key to maintaining hope and pushing through.
Okay, so we've covered the internal stuff. But grit doesn't happen in a vacuum. That brings us to the last takeaway. Nurturing grit requires wise cultures and parenting.
Right. The environment matters hugely. Duckworth identifies the most effective parenting style for fostering grit as authoritative parenting, which she reframes as wise parenting. It's this crucial blend of being highly supportive and highly demanding.
Love and limits.
Exactly. Love, limits, and latitude. The latitude lets kids explore and find their own interests. The love provides the emotional security to try and fail. But the limits and high expectations enforce follow-through and teach diligence.
Like Steve Young's parents, supportive but demanding.
A perfect example. His mom sat with him in class because of his anxiety, incredible support. But his dad, who modeled grit himself, absolutely refused to let him quit sports midseason just because it was hard or he wasn't the star initially. You finish what you start, that combination is powerful.
And this led to Duckworth's own family rule, the hard thing rule.
Yeah, a practical application of wise parenting. It has a few parts. 1, everyone in the family, parents included, picks a hard thing that requires daily deliberate practice, and you model the behavior.
Okay.
2, you can quit your hard thing, but critically, only at a natural stopping point, end of the season, end of the school year, recital finished. No quitting on a bad day or in the middle of the struggle.
Teaches you to push through the dip.
Exactly. And 3, for her high schoolers, an added rule. Commit to at least one activity for 2 years or more. This builds that crucial long-term follow-through muscle.
And that 2-year thing, there's data behind that with extracurriculars.
Yeah, quite a bit. Structured activities, sports, music, debate, whatever, are like natural grit labs. You usually have a demanding coach or teacher who isn't your parent. You have clear goals, you have to practice, and you have to commit. Studies show kids who stick with an activity for 2+ years are significantly more likely to graduate college and achieve early career success. It really seems to build that persistence.
And this idea of environment extends beyond the family, right, to cultures.
Absolutely. If you want to be grittier, one of the best things you can do is join a gritty culture, whether it's a company, a team, or even just a group of friends. Shared norms, values, and identity around perseverance are incredibly powerful.
Like the Finnish concept of sisu.
A fantastic example. Sisu is this deep cultural concept of inner strength, guts, resilience in the face of adversity. It's part of the Finnish identity. Believing we get up again no matter what becomes ingrained.
And leaders can actively build this in organizations.
Great leaders do. Think of Pete Carroll with the Seahawks. His mantra, always compete, wasn't just about game day. It was about the daily grind, pushing through fatigue, finishing strong. He explicitly coached perseverance as a core value.
Or Jamie Dimon at JP Chase.
Calling it fortitude. He created a culture where mistakes weren't career enders, but learning opportunities, fostering resilience. He communicated this relentlessly. When tenacity becomes part of the group's identity, it powerfully shapes individual behavior.
So bringing all this together, what's the big picture?
Well, it fundamentally reframes greatness. It's not magic. It's not just divine talent falling from the sky. It's what the sociologist Dan Chambliss called the accretion of mundane acts. Small, consistent efforts piling up over a very long time.
Nietzsche said something similar, right? About seeing masters as craftsmen.
Yeah, focusing on making the little things well, the daily practice, the careful revision, finding satisfaction in the process, not just the final, dazzling result.
It almost redefines genius.
I think it does. Ta-Nehisi Coates, another MacArthur winner, talked about writing as constant failure, but then getting up the next day to refine it ceaselessly. If that's genius working towards excellence relentlessly with everything you've got, then effort is clearly the driving force, not just some fixed starting point.
So the message seems to be that our limits are often self-imposed.
Largely, yes. We quit too soon, or we jump between interests too often, never letting that focused effort compound. So maybe the most important thing is to find that one interesting, purposeful, top-level goal and just hold on tight.
Which leads to that final thought you wanted to leave us with.
Right. Psychologists talk about the maturity principle, basically. We grow and change, often becoming more conscientious or, yes, grittier in response to life's demands. A challenging job, becoming a parent, facing a crisis, these things force us to adapt.
Okay.
So the question is, instead of waiting for life to force you to become grittier through unexpected demands, what new hard things could you intentionally commit to now? What challenges could you choose that will proactively ensure your own continued growth and development?
That's today's breakdown. While this discussion cannot replace the book's full text, it can offer a glimpse into its teachings. I hope you found this discussion helpful, and I look forward to sharing more. Let me know what book next you want to discuss.